My childhood best friend confessed her love for me days before her wedding. Now she wants to leave her fiance for me. My 35 meters friend Cleo, 35 feet, just told me she loves me 4 weeks before her marriage, and I am not sure what I do now. Here's the backstory. I lost my wife 2 years ago, and we had a daughter together, who is now 5. I have not dated in the last 2 years because I have major trauma from losing my wife. I still love her a lot and don't think I'm ready to move on. Instead of dating, I invested all my time in my daughter, who looks exactly like her mother, and the rest of the time I had was invested in my work. This managed to keep me relatively sane for the last 2 years. I have been friends with Cleo since we were in elementary school. We lived in the same neighborhood growing up and were best friends. She is an awesome person, and we were inseparable growing up. The weirdest part was we had completely different personalities. She was very outgoing and always had a lot of friends. I am a big introvert and Cleo along with a few friends was all I needed. Cleo was a serial dater and I don't remember her being single at all since middle school. Cleo and I never dated though. Cleo and I also went to the same college. She never had a stable boyfriend, but just jumped from one relationship to another. I, on the other hand, did not date seriously until I was in my junior year. When I met my wife, she was a freshman and we hit it off instantly. We fell for each other and spent all our time with each other. This strained my relationship with Cleo as I would generally hang out with my wife instead of her. That was the time Cleo and I slowly started drifting apart. After college, I moved to a different town for my job, and Cleo and I occasionally messaged each other, but nothing beyond that. Cleo attended my wedding and that was the last time I saw her. We kept in touch, but mostly by commenting on each other's pictures or keeping each other updated on significant life events. Cleo did reach out to me when my wife passed away and we talked on a phone call. Last year, Cleo and her fiance, Zach, moved to my city. I was still grieving, and both have been amazing support for me and my daughter. My daughter loves dancing, and Cleo helped me enroll her in dancing and gymnastics classes and sometimes takes her to them. I also became good friends with her fiance, who is indeed incredibly good. My daughter also loves Auntie Cleo and Cleo sometimes helps me babysit. Last week, Cleo came to my house and asked if we could talk. Her tone sounded serious. I really didn't know what she was going to say. She told me that over the last few months, she feels like she has started to develop feelings for me and is not sure anymore if she wants to go ahead with the wedding. She felt I also had started developing feelings for her. I told her that I am not ready for any relationship before I can deal with my mental health. She tried to convince me that she loved me, we are soulmates, and she felt that we were meant to be together. However, I do not have the same feelings for her. I love her as a friend, but nothing beyond that. We were both emotional, but she said she was glad we talked about this. She left after that. Cleo called me that night and told me not to talk about our conversation to anyone. I thought a lot about it and decided that I would not tell Zach. I feel it's their relationship, and I do not have the right to ruin their moment if Cleo decides to go ahead with a wedding. However, I feel guilty that her fiancé does not know anything about this and is going into a marriage where Cleo might not be fully ready for it. Has anyone else been in a situation like this? What would you do? Update. The guilt was killing me for not telling Zach what Cleo had said to me. I finally called Cleo after a few days and asked her to meet me for lunch. I talked to her and asked her if she was going ahead with her wedding. She broke down and told me she was not sure. I told her that she should at least talk to Zach regarding her feelings and not be dishonest with him. I also assured her that I would not say anything to him, but I just wanted her to be happy. She said she understood and left. That night I put my daughter to sleep and was watching TV. I heard a loud knock on my door, and it was Zach. I opened the door, and he was in tears. He started yelling at me and asking me why I had to steal Cleo out of all the people. I tried to calm him down, but he just kept on shouting. I was trying to get him to sit down on the bench on our porch. I told him my daughter was sleeping upstairs, but he slowly was getting more and more physical. He punched me in the face, and I was able to push him off. I told him to get out of my house, and he sat in his truck and drove away. I immediately called Cleo, and she was crying and did not sound well on the phone. She told Zach that she could not marry him, because she had feelings for me. I was really scared for her, after the physical altercation with Zach, and told her to gather some clothes and get out of the house. She did that and came to my place. I just didn't feel she was safe with Zach. I consoled her for almost 2 hours and was able to get her to sleep. The next morning, we had to call her parents to let them know about what had happened. Cleo kept a brave face, but I could see how much she was hurting. Her parents asked her to take a few days off, and immediately come back home, and she did take a flight in the evening to go home. Over the next 2 weeks, the wedding was called off. Cleo and I were talking every day and she was just very exhausted. She talked to Zach a few times and kept on asking her to take more time to think. However, I think Cleo just wanted to get out of it and decided to just break it off with Zach. Currently, Cleo is staying with us for the last 2 weeks. She still has a job here and started going back to work last week. I have talked to Cleo in detail about what happened. Cleo told me that Zach and her were dating on and off for the last 4 years. Zach is not very career-oriented, and Cleo is very good at her job. She felt he was a nice and reliable person, but was unsure about him from the start. She felt that she was not getting any younger, and hence they decided to get married. When she heard about my wife passing away, she just felt really bad and wanted to be around me to comfort me. When she got her big promotion, which meant she could work in a corporate office, she immediately chose my city and moved here. Zach also moved here and got a new job. She never had any romantic feelings for me back then. As she started hanging out with my daughter and me, she started feeling the bond we shared when we were growing up. Except, I was the broken one and she was taking care of me. She said that she realized that she was enjoying her time with us, more than with Zach. She realized she made a mistake with Zach, and what she wanted was right in front of her. Hence, she slowly started thinking about me in that way and finally told me about it. She knew her relationship with Zach was over the moment she confessed to me. It's a crappy situation, but I am glad that she realized that before getting married rather than after. As for Zach, I feel bad for him. He is moving back to our hometown closer to his family. He is currently in their apartment and will move sometime next month. I know a lot of you would be curious if we were dating. We are not dating. I don't think I can date anyone right now and neither should Cleo. She is my friend, and I am happy that she is staying with us, and plans to be here until everything is sorted out. My daughter loves having Annie Cleo around too, so that's a bonus. Plus, it's really nice to see her slowly get back to normal. What I know is that we are friends for life, no question about that.